Hi everyone, how are you today? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, please type yes. We are still few minutes left before we start. So let's ask all your friends, families, come and join together. Anyone from Northern side? Can I see a hi? Anyone from Northern? Good evening, everyone. Hello, Jennifer from Labuan. Subang, Penang, hello. Welcome. 2 more minutes before we start. So please get your pen and paper ready. Okay. Hello, orang JB. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes for everyone to join in. Okay, remember, text your friend right now, ask everyone to come in. Hello, orang KL, how are you? Anyone from Sabah and Sarawak? Can you say hi? Anyone from Sabah, Sarawak? Muhammad Nizam from Sarawak. Hello. Okay, let's wait for another 1 or 2 minutes for everyone to join in. Okay, while waiting, enjoy the music. Hope you like the music also. Remember to ask your friend to join in right now. We're going to start soon. Do you have your pen and paper ready? Get your pen and paper round. Okay, I think some have audio problem, so some of you cannot hear the music. Okay, so let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Tony here. I'm from Segi College, Penang. I will be your moderator for today. Hi everyone, hi, say hi. If you can see me, hi. All right, so let me pull out my slide. Okay, so today, okay, we'll be sharing by a speaker, all right, about the Web 2.0 technologies for 21st century teaching and learning, all right. So we are from a group of Segi group of colleges. Okay, I'll be your moderator. I'm Tony, and today we have invited speakers from Segi College Penang. All right, his name is Dr. Gerard. I believe some of you have joined his session last week. So if you have joined his session, okay, can you please type 1, right? Can you please type 1 on the screen if you have joined his sessions last week? Okay, let me see. Anyone have joined his sessions? Okay, Dr. Gerard's session last week. If yes, type 1. So let's see how many of you have joined his session, right? If you think his session is very good, right? If you think his session is very good, please type 2. Okay, type 2. Let's see. Okay. Wow, a lot of you have joined this session. Wow, very good, very good, very good. Okay, if you think Dr. Jia's session is very good, please type 2. Type 2. Let's see. Wow. Okay, a lot of you. Okay. First of all, I'd like to thanks to all of you for supporting this webinar. All right, for attending this webinar. Okay. So let me put up a soft reminder before we start today. So, okay, so for if you have any question during our session later on, okay, feel free to ask us, okay. All you need to do is just put your comment, or if you have a question, just put your question on the chat room, okay, the live chat room. So moderator, myself, or the speaker, Dr. Gerard today, will try to respond you from time to time, right? So if you, we also will open a Q&A session, okay, at the last 10 minutes. So feel free to ask any question that you like. All right. So Dr. Gerard will, I believe Dr. Gerard will answer you. Okay. Oh, and for all of you, okay, we will have attendance, okay, and also evaluation form at the last 10 minutes also. Okay. So this is for us to send you the digital certificate. Okay. So please stay here until the end of the session. Okay. We will put up the link for the attendance form for you to fill in later on. Right. Yeah, one more thing. For all Segi staff, I think I saw a lot of Segi staff here. Okay, you need to stay back also until the end of this session. Okay, we will have another link only for Segi staff. Yeah, we will have another attendance link for Segi staff only. Right? So we will be announcing it at the end of this session. Okay, so for all Segi staff, please stay back. For all of you, teachers, students, all right, please stay back. All right, we'll give you the link later on for the digital certificate. Yeah. All right. So, okay, a little synopsis for this Web 2.0. All right. Okay, so some of you might be wondering, hey, I know what is website, but what is Web 2.0? Okay, let me give you a heads up first. Web 2.0 is, in other words, it's called as user generated content. All right, user generated content. Maybe I can put you in a perspective such as think about Facebook. Any teachers here? Okay, any teachers here? If the teachers, please type 3. Type 3. All right, teachers, this is very useful for you. Because why? Do you ever thought of using this Facebook example? Let's say Facebook. Do you ever thought of using Facebook into your teaching? Right? Example, asking the students, okay, to do some assignments. Okay, so what they need to do is to make use of this technology. Let's say to go and take some pictures and put on Facebook. So teachers will instantly go and check the student assignment by just looking at Facebook. So how to make use of this Web 2.0 to, how to say, gain the confidence and also practice your student critical thinking, all right? Use it in this teaching and learning environment since we are moving toward IR 4.0, right? Okay, a little introduction for our speakers today. So I believe some of you already know him. Okay, Dr. Gerard Hui. Okay, so he's currently is a vice principal of academic. Okay, at Segi College Penang. So okay, so he's currently have more than 28 years working experience in engineering field, ICT field, and also education field, right? So he have developed various of training to many for teaching and learning purpose, all right, for conducting talks, even workshops, okay, for all the adult, okay, school teacher, lecturers, and even those postgraduate students, okay. So he's previously studied in TAUC, okay, and then further on to Master in Science Engineering in Cardiff University. And after that, he got his doctorate of, education, okay, from University of Science Malaysia. All right. So without further ado, let me bring up Dr. Gerard. Hi, Dr. Gerard. How are you today?
Good. You.
Okay.
And hi to everyone. Welcome back to today, this evening's talk again for those returning.
Yeah, hi everyone. Okay, so without further ado, Dr. Gerard, I will pass the mic to you to start your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. Okay, welcome back to tonight's, this evening's session on another topic that I'll be presenting. Today's topic is one of my favorite topics. I've been presenting this topic for a couple of years and it's still valid today, okay? It's Web 2 Technologies for 21st Century Teaching and Learning. And this talk will be very useful for teachers, those who are in the teaching field, as well as those who are in any field that is related to education, whether you are a policymaker or whether you are teaching in the class. Okay, let me begin by telling you a bit about the introduction of this topic. Basically, this topic, I'll be talking about providing teachers with the knowledge and know-how to implement 21st century learning in schools. I will be explaining what is 21st century. There's a framework that we use. And teachers will be able to appreciate the significance of TPAC. TPAC is another term that you may not have heard of, but I'm going to introduce you this TPAC so that you become aware of TPAC and you will pursue knowledge in these areas so that you become a complete teacher, a teacher that is complete in a way that you are ICT competent for the 21st century. And I've developed some research on this area. Actually, my doctorate was in 21st century teachers ICT competency areas. So I've developed the standards in this field, and now I'm sharing with you. Okay, so what we'll be covering today is this is the framework. That if you look at the picture, you can see a couple of things in this picture. I will explain to you in detail. It consists of the 21st century learning framework, okay, which is adopted from the US. And you have also interactive Web 2 learning technologies that allow you to use in teaching. Most of the tools that are available right now are free. If you pay slightly a bit for subscription, basically you get the full feature. But doesn't matter, I've been using the free stuff for many years and it's served me well and my students. And the other area that you see on this picture is the TPAC area, which is in the center. Basically, this is the knowledge, skills, and abilities that teachers will need to have so that you are able to integrate technology into your lesson, at the same time cultivate learning outcomes that is related to the 21st century learning framework. Okay? At the end of the day, if you are able to do this, then what you will do is basically you will become ICT competent 21st century Malaysian teachers. And you will be able to adopt the idea of from teacher-centered approach, which is what you're doing right now most of the time, to very learner-centered, where teachers become facilitators, where you will do a lot of, where you use a lot of technology to actually deliver knowledge, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. What it means is basically either live through the YouTube, just like what we are doing, or you can be recorded videos. And students will learn this on their time, anywhere, anytime. At the same time, when they come back to class, what do we do for the students? We facilitate students learning further. This is the approach that many schools are currently doing, and you can only do this if you are good in technology and the use of ICT. So ICT today is abundant. The applications are abundant. Every day you hear about new applications. So there are a lot of applications available that you can use, learn quickly, and deploy it in your teaching and learning. Let's move on. So by the end of this webinar, participants will be able to, one, explain the concept of 21st century learning, which is the first idea. The second idea would be to describe the characteristics of Web 2, why Web 2 technologies are like that, and how you can actually leverage on Web 2 technologies so that you can actually develop very interactive technology-based lessons online. And finally, apply TPAC. Of course, I will be explaining what is TPAC. Then I will teach you how to apply TPAC so that you are able to develop lessons that have learning outcomes related to 21st century framework by using Web 2 technologies. So it's a combination of areas, domains. Okay, one is the learning framework. The other one is the technology framework or technology tools. And the other one is the area of TPAC, where you can actually bring all this together so they become an effective teacher for the 21st century. And finally, after doing all this, you will be able to justify to everyone, even to your boss or to your principal, the need to have Web 2 technologies for 21st century teaching and learning in schools. Okay, so at the end of the day, you will have all this understanding, and it will give you the first step into using technology for education with a purpose, with a meaningful agenda. Okay, we do not use technology for the sake of using technology. We use technology because there is a relative advantage of using the technology to deliver content knowledge and to deliver learning outcomes. And those learning outcomes are related to the 21st century learning framework, where students will actually develop a lot of abilities, competencies, and skills in areas of learning and innovation, in areas of life and career skills, and in area of information media, as well as technology skills. So this is a very broad area, but I'm going to summarize it in such a way that you can understand it, so that you can also know how to path your way to develop yourself to become good teachers in this 21st century. Okay, let me show you this diagram. This diagram is the gist of my talk. Okay, it consists of the three areas. One is the 21st century framework. This framework is a framework that was developed in the US by academicians, as well as people who are interested in this field. And again, interactive Web 2 technologies, they are abundant on the internet. You can actually survey the internet and be able to find a lot of so-called tools that are useful, that you can use in your teaching and learning. And the binding factor here is TPAC. Okay, let me explain to you what is TPAC. TPAC is basically consists of three domains of knowledge that each and every teacher must have. I know that a lot of teachers here are very good in content knowledge. So that domain, let's say you are a history teacher, you are good in history, you are an ICT teacher, you are good in ICT, therefore you have this content knowledge, which is the basic requirement for teaching. Then the other area, depending on where you went for training or what kind of programs you went through in your degree. So if you went through a school of education, where you got a degree in education, I'm sure you learn a lot of pedagogy knowledge, how to the science of teaching and learning, and you can actually implement those ideas. And finally, there's an area called the technological knowledge, where you need to garner all this knowledge that you need so that you can actually integrate content and pedagogy together with technology to deliver a very impactful and meaningful learning in the 21st century. So that is the whole idea, the idea that I will be sharing with you today. I will give you examples of how we can do this so that you have an idea, and later you can develop your ideas based on this framework that I have put together. Okay, like always, if you have seen my first first webinar. This would be my fourth webinar so far. Okay, you will notice that I ask a lot of questions and I like to interact with my audience. So the first question here is, what are the knowledge, abilities, and skills required for 21st century? Can you tell me any skill that you think that is relevant to the 21st century workplace, where you need to have your students be able to actually learn and also to develop so that they are able to be competent in the 21st century workplace? Okay, you can start contributing your ideas on the live chat so that I can see some of the examples. Critical thinking and collaborative skills, according to Kalai. Problem solving skills, very good. Thinking skills, shared knowledge, I presume is shared knowledge by Roy. What else? Critical thinking. If you have more, please type. Okay, ICT skills, very, very true. You need a lot of ICT skills currently to thrive in the 21st century. Why? Because we are now living in the 21st century, which is called the information society. Okay, we are in the information society. Anything and everything revolves around information. We get things done because we have information. We are able to analyze things because we have information. We become more intelligent because we have information. Okay, information today is very important. Communication skills and soft skills. Thank you very much. I will move on. Basically, based on the 21st century learning framework, these are the areas where we need to actually have our students be able to learn and to nurture themselves in terms of knowledge and transfer skills. Transfer skills here refer to the ability of a student or a person to learn certain theories in one domain and apply that knowledge in another domain. If you can do transfer skills effectively, therefore you will be more creative in solving problems. Transfer skills here. Then we have the 4Cs, which is very important. Most of you have actually mentioned those 4Cs, the critical thinking and problem solving skills, creativity, communication, and collaboration. These 4Cs are very important. You should always remember the 4Cs when you design your lesson plan, because at the end of the day, when you teach and you have students do activities, it must not only enable them to learn knowledge, but more importantly, to be able to use their critical mind and be able to be creative in solving problems, and students can communicate with others, okay? And at the end of the day, as well as collaborate with others as well. There are other things that we also need to learn. These skills are called are related to technology, and we have information literacy, we have media literacy, ICT literacy, as well as life skills. These are areas that we have to incorporate into the teaching and learning of our daily lessons. So these are the areas that I've shared with you, and these areas are taken from the 21st century learning framework. And we are going to integrate all this using technology into our lesson plan. At the end of the day, at the end of this lesson, you will be able to do that. That is the objective of our lesson today. Moving on, second question. Why do our students need 21st century learning skills? I am going to tell you a story here and also to justify to you a lot of facts why our students need 21st century learning skills. Let me tell you some of the reasons. Okay, as I move along, I hope that you can appreciate those reasons and know that so that you are able to justify to yourself why students need 21st century learning skills. Let me move on. Reason number one. First reason, there is an exponential growth of knowledge currently, okay? And it's moving very fast and it's moving forward into the future. Why? Because today the world is connected. The world is connected because there's internet. Because of internet, there is an exponential growth of knowledge. And how fast is this growth? Let's look later. Let's look at the other slides. I'll tell you. And because of the internet, communication and collaboration around the world knowledge is exploding again. There are so much communication and there's so much collaboration among people from different regions, and they are exploding. Okay, because of this activity that is happening right now, knowledge is growing very, very fast. And because of that, here are some examples that I want to show you why communication collaboration has exploded in the internet world. First of all, there are a lot more user-generated content right now on the internet. As I'm talking, you are generating content on the live chat. Those are content developed. Okay, you are generating content on this particular web page. There's a lot more conversation, okay, between people from different regions and people from the same region. Most of us are using technology to communicate, and we are having a lot of communication. And because of communication, we learn a lot more things, and a lot more things are discovered. That's one of the reasons as well. Second reason, there are more collaboration. Because there are more collaboration, there are more knowledge generated as well. And because there are also a lot of communities, okay, communities around the world that are forming. We call them learning communities, or we call them professional communities, where they actually proliferate the knowledge among the community members, so that community members are upgraded with more and more knowledge. And because of this, there is an exponential growth of knowledge as well. And the other thing is collective intelligence. Collective intelligence is currently the main thing that's happening on the internet. There are a lot of information, raw data is being collected by a lot of companies that you know of. One of the companies is Facebook. The other company that you're looking at is currently YouTube. And many, many more companies where they give free services. They are actually collecting all this data, and later will be processed using data analytics. And we have this collective intelligence that we can actually use to forecast and use to know about the nature of people in certain areas of the world, or certain things that people like. So there's a lot of things happening, and because of this, there is this exponential growth of knowledge. And that's the reason why students need to learn 21st century learning skills to be able to cope with such a changing world. And because knowledge and technology advancement, we are experiencing this exponential rate of discovery. And this is the exponential graph. It shows that over time, okay, we are getting to discover and develop new knowledge as time passes. So the exponential growth of knowledge is not stoppable right now. It's growing so fast. And because of research done, they found out, according to the knowledge doubling curve, in 1900s, knowledge doubled every century. Every 100 years, knowledge doubles. And in the 1940s, knowledge doubled every 25 years. And if you move on, currently knowledge doubles every 13 months. This is research according to IBM and Harvard University and a few people. Okay, and very soon, guess what? Knowledge will double every 12 hours. That's how fast it's going to be. Okay, because of this growth of knowledge and it's changing so fast, things change very fast. What it means is basically, if knowledge changes very fast, what you know today may not be relevant tomorrow. That is the message here. If knowledge changes very fast, what you know today may not be relevant tomorrow. Okay, so that is the society that we are living in, the information society that we are living in right now. And because of this exponential growth, according to the World Economic Forum, these people are forecasting that because of this knowledge growth, people are forecasting that 65% of children today will end up working in completely new jobs that doesn't exist yet. What it means is basically you can train a student to do this, or you can train the students to have this particular knowledge. That knowledge could be obsolete in the future. Therefore, these children that will graduate in a couple of years and into the future will not be able to find those jobs that are related to the knowledge they have been trained from, okay, in the universities or college or even from schools. So what is the solution? What is the solution that we need to have so that our children will be able to survive in the 21st century and beyond? Okay, not only knowing knowledge. students and young people must know beyond knowledge. They must have competencies and skills. And those competencies and skills are related to the 21st century framework. So this is the challenge all of us have. We are unable to know what will happen in the future because of the changes in knowledge. And that's it. That is to a certain extent very scary. I think so. I think to a lot of you, I think this is scary. Well, basically, myself and a couple of friends, we are moving towards retirement. But for young people and people who are in the 20s and 30s, they are moving into this kind of society, and there are a lot of changes. So if they only have knowledge and they are unable to renew their knowledge with new skills and competencies, I can say basically they will be obsolete. Okay, they will be out of jobs. They are not relevant to the current society. So let's move on to the next slide. Again, I have another reason why students need 21st century. The first reason was knowledge is exploding. Knowledge is growing very fast. And because of that, things are changing very fast. So what are the skills you need? So second reason is I would like to share with you the fourth industrial revolution. And because of the fourth industrial revolution, I will show you some of the technologies that are available that is changing the world that we live in. Okay, but before that, I give you a bit of history here. So the first industrial revolution was water and steam powered production. You use water and steam to power machines. Those machines can only produce to a certain extent. Then we move on to the second industrial revolution when we have electricity and powered machines that can even produce more. That is where mass production came about. This started in the 20th century. And by the time in the 1970s, we have the electronics and IT technologies, and this allowed us to build the third industrial revolution where we have automated machines that do not require people to operate. It can operate by themselves. And finally, now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution basically is also termed as cyber physical systems. What is cyber physical systems? Basically, it comes from two words. One is cyber. Cyber refers to the internet, and physical refers to the physical world. Because of the fourth industrial revolution, because of new technologies such as Internet of Things, cloud computing, big data analytics, as well as the advancement of technology in sensing the environment, we are able to put all this together and develop cyber physical systems. Cyber physical systems allow us to connect the cyber world with the physical world. And because of this connection that is happening, there are a lot of changes that will happen in our lives. Let me share with you detailedly what is cyber physical systems. Okay, let me explain to you what is a cyber physical system here. A cyber physical system actually consists of the internet, okay, a web of wires connected to all these items on the internet. It could be your phone, it could be a computer, it could be your house that is connected to the internet, it could be your car that is connected to the internet, okay? And all this, when you pull them together, they are called the cloud computing. Cloud computing allows you to compute and analyze data, collect data, analyze data on the cloud. Not only on your local PC, but you are able to collect data anywhere, anytime. And this data are collected and transmitted through the internet to other systems, to other storage systems where data are collected and be processed later. So let me show you cloud computing here. So one of the areas that will input information into the cloud would be social networks. For example, your Facebook, your Twitter, the comments that you type on YouTube, comments that you are typing right now during my presentation. Okay, those are the inputs. Second, biochips, chips that are embedded under your skin. Okay, like a pacemaker or any other chip that can be embedded under your skin, where it can communicate with your mobile phone, and it can transmit data to your mobile phone, and your mobile phone can transmit data through the cloud to the doctor's office, where the doctor can collect information and analyze your health. Okay, that is one area, biochips. The other area are smart homes, which is very common right nowadays. Okay, smart homes are homes where you can actually control it when you are not around. For example, if you go to while you're driving home, you can actually use your mobile phone to start on the air conditioning in your home. By the time you reach, your house will be cool enough for you to enter, for example. And you have autonomous driven cars. Autonomous driven cars are cars that have the artificial intelligence and is connected to the internet, and it can drive itself without a driver. And this is becoming a reality very soon. Then you have cloud storage. Currently, cloud storage is the area of computing where they have developed many centers to collect tons of information. And those information are from you and I, collected and later will be processed. And this processing of this data in the cloud storage is called data analytics. So data analytics allow you to actually process this data so that you have information. With information, you can make decisions. Okay, so this is the cyber physical systems explained. So let me ask you a question now. Guess who is the data point today? Who is the data point? You and I are data points. If you think about it, you will realize that you are a data point. When I say that, it means that you contribute data into the cloud, and your data is being collected every second as you use your phone. And this data will be collected, and it collects through things like your applications, your Facebook, your Twitters, your YouTube, your Instagram, your WhatsApp, your Pinterest, your Line, your Skype. All this data can be collected. And when it's collected, it will be stored on the internet, cloud storage, and all this data will be processed. That's why, if you think about it, the richest people in the world right now, who are they? The richest people in the world today are people who has information, who collects information. Amazon is a big company that collects a lot of your buying behavior. Okay, they are able to process the things that you like and be able to push the right advertisements to you. They also collate all this data, crunch them, and sell this information to people who want to buy this information. So they are actually making tons of money based on the data that is collected from you and I. Okay, so this is the nature of the information society, and this is happening. You have the right not to share your data, but you can't resist because you need to interact in such environment. So therefore, this is the society that you're living, and you have to be careful when you share things on the internet. Next, let me show you some pictures here to illustrate some points here. So bio-embedded chips that are embedded under your skin, or pacemakers that could be connected to the phone that's connected to the internet and connected to the doctor's office. And if you have autonomous driven vehicles, I think there are a lot of countries are now testing autonomous driven vehicles. The last time I heard Singapore was testing this, and probably in future when you call a Grab, okay, the car will come without the driver. This is the future. I think we will live long enough to see all this happening in our lives. Okay, the next one is advanced robotics. Robotics related to advanced automation as well as artificial intelligence, where the factories can actually operate without human operators. And this is a bit funny here, robotics maid. And here you have this robotic maid. One day, I'm sure this will happen. It's just a matter of time. Then you have a smart artificial intelligence assistant. This piece of software is a piece of software that can actually provide assistance to people like students. Okay, so I'm not sure whether the future will change, because if we have a lot of smart assistants, will we need lecturers? Will we need teachers? What do you think? Okay, in future, when smart assistants are available, they perform the work like a teacher. Will teachers still exist? Okay, that is the question. Later, we can actually think about this and talk about this as well. And the other one, very important, is machine learning. Machine learning are a type of artificial intelligence that can actually learn by themselves. You don't even have to teach them. Okay, you set the software and the algorithm to be like that. They are able to basically accumulate knowledge and they learn by themselves in a way. So machine learning is an upcoming area. If any students here listening to this talk, artificial intelligence, machine learning is a good field for you to actually pursue, because these are the areas that we will actually need people to be in the future. Next, okay, I've talked so much. I will take a sip of water while you watch this particular video. This video is about what is happening right now, what kind of society we are living in, and what are the jobs that will be affected by the fourth industrial revolution. So this, by the way, is Dr. Michio Kaku. He is a professor from US. I think it's City University. He's a very talented person. He's a futurist, and actually I listen to him a lot, and I get a lot of my ideas from him. So I want you to listen to him about what will happen to our jobs in the future, or in fact, is currently happening.
It turns out the jobs of the future will be those jobs that cannot be done by artificial intelligence and robots. And there are huge gaps in what a robot can do. Robots have very bad eyesight. They see lines, circles, squares. But they don't understand that these lines, circles, squares make up a face, or a chair, or a cup. Pattern recognition is one of the big problems. Second, common sense. They don't understand the simplest things about human behavior, about the world. They don't know that water is wet. They don't know that strings can fall, that strings can have push. So the two jobs that will thrive in the future and the two sets of jobs that will be destroyed are as follows. Among blue-collar jobs, repetitive jobs are going to be wiped out, obliterated. This means jobs in the automobile industry, textile industry that are very repetitive are in danger. Non-repetitive jobs in blue-collar work will thrive. Garbage men, sanitation people, gardeners, police, construction workers. Every job is different. They will survive. In white-collar work, it defies common sense. The people who will be thrown out of work are middlemen, low-level accountants, bookkeepers, agents, tellers, middlemen. The friction of capitalism are going to be obliterated. So who will benefit among white-collar workers? Workers who engage in intellectual capitalism. What is intellectual capitalism? It involves common sense. In other words, creativity, imagination, leadership, analysis, telling a joke, writing a script, writing a book, doing science. Realize that England, said Tony Blair, derives more revenue from rock music than it does the coal industry. Because we're making the transition from commodity-based capital like coal to intellectual capital like rock and roll.
Okay, I hope you have listened to this professor, and if you can analyze what he says, basically jobs that are repetitive will be obsolete, and jobs that uses the intellect, meaning your brain, you use a lot of creativity in your job, imagination, and you have leadership, and you do a lot of analysis. Okay, these are the jobs of the future. So repetitive jobs will be obsolete. This is the effects of the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution will replace a lot of repetitive jobs. Jobs that requires us to think are the jobs that will still remain. Still for some time until artificial intelligence come into play. So I do not know what will happen by then. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Our knowledge, because of this exponential growth of knowledge due to the fourth industrial revolution, our knowledge, abilities, and skills we have today can actually be obsolete tomorrow. Okay, so this is the message that I would like to share with you. Your abilities, your skills, your knowledge today that you have amassed all these years, can actually be obsolete tomorrow. Why? Because knowledge is expanding, discovery is being scientific discoveries are happening almost every day. So things are changing very fast. So what is the important skill and capability that you must have, or your students must have, so that they do not get obsolete, they do not get put aside. Okay, they can be useful in this society. Let me share with you more. Okay, this is the Industrial Revolution 4 that will come out from this Industrial Revolution 4 will come out what we call Society 5. Okay, so I'm going to share with you how this has evolved because of Industrial Revolution 4.0. When we first started as humans, we were hunter-gatherers. Okay, that was called the Society 1, the emergence of human beings. So by 1300,000 BC, society start to do farming, okay, for food, and that is called Society 2. After Society 2 came about the first Industrial Revolution, which was light industry using water and steam powered machines. Then it came the second Industrial Revolution, where we have heavy industries like chemical industries as well, and that gave rise to the Society 3.0, the Industrial Society. After the Industrial Society happened, the next revolution was the third Industrial Revolution that depended a lot of computers and electronics, and as well as the internet. And this gave rise to what we have today, the Information Society. After the Information Society, by the end of the 20th century, came about the fourth Industrial Revolution. And because of this fourth Industrial Revolution, we will see a new society that will emerge, which is Society 5.0. And what is Society 5.0? Can you imagine what is Society 5.0 as a result of the fourth Industrial Revolution? So this is an important fact that we should ponder on, because this is our future, and this future is just around the corner. Okay, it's not a future that will be 50 years or 100 years from now, because technology changes so fast, knowledge increases so fast and double up so fast. So we will be moving into this form of society. I can still remember in the 1990s, I believe, when Dr. Mahathir said, get ready for the information society, or get ready for the knowledge economy. I thought that economy will come probably by the time I retire. But it happened much earlier. Okay, it happens in the last 20 years. So we have been using information to survive, using information to thrive in this society. So what will be the next society? Just think about it. It's actually food for thought here, so that you can actually ponder and see what will happen. And by pondering on what Society 5.0 will allow you to prepare yourself better and also prepare your students. So let's move on. Third question. So I have actually asked you the first question, which was on what kind of knowledge, skills, and abilities the student must have. The second question I asked you about why do we need to have this knowledge? Because, and I gave you a lot of reasons, and those reasons are very valid reasons. So now we are going to the third question. The question is, what kind of knowledge, abilities, and skills do our students need for the 21st century? If you know what are the knowledge, abilities, and skills, then you will know what to teach your students, right? So as teachers, we have the responsibility to know this. And to know this is important for us right now and into the future. So let me start by having this quote. This is from Alvin Toffler, futurist and philosopher. He said that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is a very powerful quote, and this quote is very, very relevant to us right now and into the future. The illiterate is no more that you cannot read or write. That is in the past. Today, if you cannot learn, okay, when I say you cannot learn, it means that you stop learning, or you feel that I cannot learn because I'm not in front of a teacher, okay? And you cannot unlearn, meaning whatever you have learned in the past, if you cannot unlearn, how are you going to relearn, right? So it's very important to have learning skills, independent learning skills that will allow you to learn by yourself. After you have learned those knowledge and you apply it in your workplace or in your work or in your life, it will come a time where all the knowledge that you learn will not be useful anymore. Therefore, you have to unlearn all the old habits or whatever habits that you have or knowledge that you have, and we learn new things to move on. So this is the continuous process of learning, unlearn, and relearn. And if you have this idea in your mind and you set this as a lifestyle for yourself, I think it is very easy for you to thrive in the 21st century. So let us move on. According to the World Economic Forum, the top 10 skills in 2015 is shown as on in the screen. And by 2020, which is now, okay, it says that the first top skill will be complex problem solving skills, critical thinking skills, creativity, as well as people management skills. If you look at all this, these are related to basically your 4 C's. Okay, they are related to your 4 C's. So the 4 C's in the 21st century learning framework is very, very crucial. We need to integrate this into our lessons so that students will learn all these skills and abilities so that they don't only have knowledge, but have this capability to interact in the 21st century. Okay, so the message again here is to ensure students succeed in the future, learning has to be a constant process. There's no stopping to learning anymore. Learning has to be a constant process. Why? Because we need to overcome something. What is the thing that we need to overcome? We need to overcome change. Okay? And change is a constant right now. Okay? Things change every day. The only way to cope with change is to learn. And learning has to be a constant process. So if you agree with this idea, what we need to do is to develop ourselves to be lifelong learners. If you are a lifelong learner and you have this habit to learn and it becomes a lifestyle, you will be able to continue to learn without much fuss and complaints, because you are living a lifestyle of learning. And this kind of lifestyle is very important for us to inculcate in our students, because they are going to live in this world that we are seeing that's happening in the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and Society 5. So they have to be able to do that. So it is very important for all of us here to take this seriously and think about it and change ourselves so that we are able to have this lifestyle of learning, okay, becoming a lifelong learner, and have our students be able to do this. It's easily said than done, okay? But we have to put an effort to do this. Okay, and because of all this, let me summarize what we need to do. Learning is now a lifelong process of coping with change. Number 1 fact. Second fact, content of lessons are less important in today's world as knowledge change and grow at exponential rates. So what it means is basically, yes, you can teach content, but content can get obsolete. So what do you need to teach? You need to teach students to how to learn, and that is more important. Okay, therefore, learning how to learn is the basis of education today, and this is what we are doing in SEGI. Okay, and because of this framework that we have developed the salient DNA framework. In SEGI, we do not only teach students knowledge, which is the discipline knowledge, things related to the discipline that they want to study, but they have to be competent. Competent means they have to use those knowledge within and across different domains. Skills that we develop in students right now in the college as well as in the school, if you're not developing those skills, you have to develop these skills for students, because these are skills that will enable them to thrive in the 21st century. Still skills like the 4 C's. Okay, these 4 C's we have been talking about for many years, but are we putting an effort to put this into our lesson so that students can actually develop those skills while they learn with us? I will show you later how we do this in SEGI. And digital smarts. Digital smarts are related to technology. It consists of information, media, and technology skills, life and career skills, followed by attitudes, positive attitudes that are bold, progressive, people-oriented, as well as lifelong learners. So this is a framework that we develop for ourselves, and we use this framework to develop lessons that allow our students to develop those skills besides knowledge or discipline skills, or sorry, knowledge or discipline content. So let's move on. Now we come to the real learning here. Those are all the reasons that we have to have this skill that I'm showing you right now in this slide. So I have combined the 21st century framework. What are the skill sets, abilities that we need our students to have, okay, under the 21st century learning framework? Then we have on the other side, which is the interactive Web 2 technologies. Those are the tools that are available on the internet where you can use to develop students. And to do this, you must have TPAC know-how. Okay, you must have TPAC know-how, or you must have TPAC awareness. You must be aware that such a thing exists. It's called TPAC. Okay, TPAC stands for technological, pedagogical, content knowledge. And teachers must be aware of this so that they can integrate all this to develop lessons of the 21st century. Let me show you how we do this. But before that, let me again explain to you the areas very fast before we go into the examples. The 21st century framework consists of learning skills, the 4 C's, which I've explained many, many times. It also consists of the learning and career skills, followed by information, media, and technology skills. In the center of all these skills and competencies that we can actually have students learn and be able to have are key subject content. So those are content knowledge plus 21st century themes. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to explain to you each and every one of them. So the key subjects in the 21st century, of course, are the subjects that you teach in school. Okay, this is the subject range that is more westernized. But in Malaysia, we also have a range of subjects that belongs to these key subjects. And more important than key subjects, I believe and I think, are 21st century themes. So what we need to do is basically when we teach content, it has to be related to certain themes. Themes like global awareness, financial themes, economics, civil literature, health literacy, as well as environmental literacy. Why I say that when we teach content, we have to have themes is because we want to do what we call, cross-domain transfer skills training among our students. For example, if you learn mathematics, 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. Okay, in the real world, you cannot see 1 plus 1 equals to 2. 1 plus 1 equals to 2 is actually is a symbol created by humans. In the real world, you do not see 1 plus 1. Okay, in the real world, you see 1 apple on my right hand, 1 apple on my left hand, 2 of them makes 2 apples. That is the real world. So we have to transfer this symbolic learning and concepts that we learn in school into real world scenarios. And because if you can do that, it becomes very meaningful. Learning becomes meaningful. When learning becomes meaningful, students like to learn. Students are more motivated to learn. Okay, let's move on. The learning and innovation skills consist of critical thinking, creativity, communication, as well as collaboration. So here I would like to tell you a story how all this can be linked together. First of all, for us to collaborate, we must have the first thing. The first thing is critical thinking. But before we can have critical thinking or critical mind, we must be able to identify problems. We must be able to be bombarded with problems every day. So when we face problems, what do? We think about the problem. We think about the source of the problem. Okay, and that is where critical thinking comes into play. When we think about a problem, we start to use our brains. We become active. After we think critically and we find where the source of the problem, therefore we will be able to now understand the problem better, and followed by critical creativity, where we will then come up with solutions to solve problems. Okay, and if we are able to do that, then we can think critically and we can be creative as well. But the problem is there are a lot of people in this world, especially among the community of engineers. We can think very critical, we can be very creative. The problem is that we cannot communicate our ideas effectively. So therefore, being able to think critically and be creative is not good enough. We have to communicate our ideas to our peers. Okay? Communication is so important. If you can't communicate, whatever is in your brain will not get out from you and be shared with others. So communication becomes very, very important. And then there are people who can communicate well, but they cannot work with people. That is also an issue. You can think, you can create ideas, you can communicate ideas, but nobody wants to follow you. Nobody wants to work with you. That is also an issue. So collaboration is how do we work with people? How do we compromise, negotiate so that people will work with us so that we can collaborate to get things done. So this is the cycle of the 4 C's. If you think about it, it makes sense, right? I cannot have 2 C's. I must have the 4 C's to function and be good in four of the C's. So that is a story related to the 4 C's. Now I move on. This is a very important area that I would like to share. And this area is an area that I like to share. Why? Because it's related to my field, which is related to media and technology. So for a 21st century student, or for us to be able to survive in this kind of environment, we have to have this skill called information literacy skills. And what is information literacy skills? I want to tell you, if I am the employer and I have two employees, one employee have very strong information literacy skills and the other one has a weaker information literacy skills. What does it mean here? It means that if an employee is able to find information and find the correct information in the shortest possible time, will actually be better than another employee who takes a lot of time to find information and doesn't have a lot of information literacy. At the same time, when he or she finds information, the information that is brought back is not very credible. So that is a skill that is important. You know why? Because let me tell you what is happening right now in my family. My dad just learned how to use WhatsApp recently. I think about 2-3 years ago, he started to use his first smartphone. Okay, my dad is basically 78 years old right now, and he's using WhatsApp. Because he doesn't have information literacy, whatever information that he receives from friends or from relatives, a news, and he will forward to us. And most of the time, the news is outdated. And he doesn't know that the news is outdated. You know why? Because he doesn't have information literacy. If you have information literacy, what are you going to do? If you receive a piece of information, a news that is so important, what do you need to do? You need to confirm that it's correct, right? So what do you do? Normally, I will go to the internet, I will use some keywords related to the topic, and I search, and I see whether I can find other sites also producing the same piece of news or information. And if it's from a credible website like CNN or maybe credible websites, then I can say that this information is credible and is useful right now. If not, those information are basically rumors. That's why there are a lot of fake news around, according to Trump. Okay, Trump says there are a lot of fake news. So without information literacy, you will not be able to do that. Okay, media literacy is another area that is also very important. Today, if you look at the presentation that I'm doing, and if you have attended my first class, my first webinar on Mind Science for Effective Multimedia Learning, you will be able now to realize how important that first lesson was when it comes to media literacy. Media literacy is about being able to analyze media, create media artifacts, meaning presentations, meaning information that is not only using one model but multimodal. Okay, so today knowing how to use media is very, very important because we use media to communicate nowadays. And finally, ICT literacy. ICT literacy is applying new technology, learning new software, applying new technology. Today, we are exposed to the phone. Tomorrow, we are exposed to a new technology. Can you adapt? Okay, so that is related to ICT strategy, literacy. Let us move on. I'm going to move very fast right now. Okay, next thing is that we have life and career skills that we need to develop in our students. Things like being flexible and adaptable. We have to have initiative and self-direction. Students must have goals to be self-directed. We must have developed students that are social creatures, where they can have cross-cultural skills, meaning they are able to communicate with different cultures effectively, leadership and responsibility, as well as productivity and accountability. So these are other areas that we need to develop as well in life and career skills. Okay, now the final question here will lead you to learn a lot more things here. Okay, so how do we as teachers go about increasing the knowledge, ability, and skills of our students? How do we do that? Okay, this is the crucial part. So this is almost the end of the presentation, and this is the most crucial. Those are the questions that I asked you earlier, was to justify what I'm going to share with you now. So I hope that justification is strong enough for you to take the initiative to learn this part and apply this part in schools. Let us move on. Teachers need to be aware of TPAC. TPAC aware. They must be aware that this framework exists, this thing exists, and this thing is, if you do not have it, you have to learn this part. Okay, what is it all about? It's about technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. These are the three domains of knowledge that you must have to be a very successful 21st century teacher and use technology to teach. So these are the three areas. Okay, I will show you how I integrate them one by one. First of all, I'm going to share with you content. Okay, content knowledge. Of course, content knowledge, we always fall back on the 21st century framework. Yes, the key subjects that you need to teach, the key knowledge that you need to share with your students. Followed by, if you teach content, you need to use 21st century themes. Okay, if you use 21st century themes, then your subjects become meaningful. When they become meaningful, it is much more goal-oriented for the students to want to learn, and students will actually be more attentive if they learn something that is more meaningful. Okay, so this is content knowledge. Next, and next is technology or technological knowledge. This area, I want to share with you what is Web 2 technologies. Just in case you are not aware of Web 2 technologies, or you do not know what is Web 2 technologies, I'm going to share with you here. I'm going to tell you the difference between Web 1 and Web 2. Okay, Web 1 technologies are those technologies that we use when the internet came about in the 1995. I think it's in the mid-1990s. For the first 10 years of the internet history, we were able to access a lot of websites, but we were not able to interact with the websites. When I say interact with the websites, means you cannot leave content on that page. Okay, so that is Web 1 technology. Web 2 technology is any website or any apps that allow you to create content, contribute content to what is already on the page. So if you go to a website and you are able to add your comments onto the website, or you are able to upload videos into the website, just like YouTube, therefore that website or the apps that you are using are Web 2 compliant. Web 2 are just simple websites that can interact with the user. And because of this, I already mentioned to you why knowledge is doubling. Knowledge is doubling because now there are so many websites that allow us to contribute knowledge or user-generated content. And because of this, knowledge keep on changing and keep on upgrading. And that is the Web 2. These are the characteristics of Web 2. It allows users to interact and collaborate. For example, to create user-generated contents. Web 2 users are passive viewers, and Web 1 are passive users, that means they read, and Web 2 are users actively interacting with the content and creating content. So you just imagine if you have Web 1 and Web 2, if you want students to actively contribute in their learning, you will use Web 2 so that they can interact, they can upload, they can key in their feedback, their answers into the web. And because that web allows the user to actually interact, it's called Web 2. And you're looking for these tools to help you basically teach and learn in school. So let me show you some categories of tools that is available right now. They are the first group of tools, searching and selecting tools. So these tools are like Google. Google is a good example. Google is search engine. So this allows us to develop our information literacy. Okay, searching and selecting the right information. There are also tools that allow us to store and share. So we can store information in the cloud, we can share information, and we can collaborate. There are tools that allow us to brainstorm and do mind mapping. And these tools allow us to actually train ourselves to be more creative and to practice creativity and problem solving. And tools that are collaborative will allow us to collaborate with others. So therefore, you can see you can match the 4 C's to all these tools. And you use these tools to apply in your teaching and learning. Students don't only learn knowledge, but they can also train themselves in the areas of the 4 C's. Okay, then you have time management and project management tools to allow you to manage. And then there are tools for you to create content, okay, like YouTube and so on and so forth. And there are tools that allow you to communicate, like WhatsApp, Skype, Viber, and so on and so forth. And there are tools for you to share and disseminate information, publish information through the internet. Okay, so let's move on. You can also see that a lot of people now have developed diagrams or ideas related to the Bloom's taxonomy. So this is Bloom's taxonomy with the various tools that is available that you can actually use, okay, to actually have learning outcomes in these various levels of Bloom's taxonomy. So there is a lot of information out there that you can actually find that will allow you to actually plan your lesson plan according to the Bloom's taxonomy by using the right technology or using the right Web 2 technologies. Okay, let's go to pedagogy. We have touched on technology, we have touched on content. Now let's go to pedagogy. The current, before I go into pedagogy, I would like to explain here that this is the Edgar Dale cone of experience. And I would like to stress out that we are now in the 21st century. We should have learning experiences that are active versus learning experiences that are passive. Okay, according to this diagram, you can see that if you read, you hear, you view images, and you watch videos, basically you are doing passive learning. Passive learning are a form of learning where students will retain very little knowledge versus active learning. Active learning, we can do things like participate in hands-on workshop, design collaborative lessons, do simulation modeling, experience a lesson, design, perform a presentation, do a real thing, and that is active learning. And when we do active learning, we start to retain more knowledge in our brains. Okay, and by using this idea of active learning, we will now be able to think of developing lessons that are more active based. So active learning is basically thinking made visible with evidence of analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Okay, it will cultivate, okay, active learning will cultivate 21st century learning skills in areas of knowledge, areas of transfer skills, areas of learning and innovation skills, areas of information, media, and technology skills, and in areas of life and career skills. So these are, if you look at this carefully, if you look at this 21st century framework, okay, we can use active learning to actually cultivate all this in our lessons. And I'm now going to show you how we do it. Okay. Okay, here are some pedagogies that we use for active learning. For example, 1 minute paper and stage setting and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to dwell in this area, but I'm going to show you how I use this thing, these active learning activities to implement with the technology in my lesson. So let's move on. Okay, now we are going to, I can show you, if I want to teach content, I can combine knowledge and pedagogy to create certain types of lessons. And I can combine knowledge, pedagogy, content knowledge, pedagogy, and technological knowledge to develop other types of learning lessons that will cultivate other types of skills and abilities. So let's say if I combine these two, pedagogy and content knowledge, Okay, I will be integrating key subjects and 21st century themes, as well as learning and innovation skills. Learning and innovation skills are the 4Cs and so on and so forth. Okay, so in teaching and learning. So let me show you. Let's say I plan to teach students using the Socratic method. Okay, if you know the Socratic method, basically it's a method where you ask excessive follow-up questions to force students to continue to think beyond a simple answer. So that is the Socratic method. Okay, so you can do this by things like having how might someone else answer the question. For example, if the student give you an answer, then you may ask another. So how might someone, or how might the other student answer the question differently? So what are the strengths of the questions? These are some of the examples that you can use in the Socratic method. And based on the 21st century learning framework, we can actually develop a table here. And based on the Socratic method of teaching and learning, what kind of skills do you think will actually be activated in this lesson? For example, if I use the Socratic method, definitely I will be able to elicit knowledge among our students or teach knowledge to them. If I use a team to teach that knowledge, then it's very thematic, okay, very meaningful. And if I do this process of Socratic method with our students, basically I'm activating critical thinking, creative thinking, as well as communication, because I'm asking students to answer my questions. So you are practicing communication skills, critical thinking skills, as well as creative thinking skills, besides students knowing or learning knowledge from you. Okay, so that's the Socratic moment. This is the combination between pedagogy and knowledge combined. Okay, next, I'm going to show you another one is minutes. Okay, how do we do this as an active learning method? So one student is chosen to take minutes of the class during the period. Next, he or she must present this information at the beginning of the next lesson. And because of this activity that you have in class, what are the skills and knowledge that will be activated in such a lesson, like taking minutes, a simple lesson like taking minutes in class. So if you allow a student to do this, the student will be able to actually consume knowledge. If the knowledge is thematic, again, it's become meaningful. At the same time, student will think critically because they are listening to you at the same time thinking, and they of course creatively minute the thing down. And when they present it to you in the beginning of the next class, you allow them to communicate and therefore use the skills of communication in your class. So that is the menu where you can take those learning outcomes that you can achieve using certain lesson plans that you can design. Next, we want to see how we can actually incorporate technology into our lesson. So when we incorporate technology into our lesson, then we have the three areas, the three domains that teachers must have the capability to design a lesson that is technology based, together with pedagogy as well as content. So I'm going to show you one or two examples on this. Okay, basically to do this, we use things like Web2 tools and software to allow us to integrate all this into one. So we have things like multimedia presentations, internet and search engines, wikis, blogs, discussion boards, and so on and so forth. We can use all this in a combination of scenarios to allow us to develop very rich, meaningful ICT-based lessons. So let me do a simple example here. Multimedia presentation in a group. If I ask students to present in a group. So basically, I'll give the students this task. Give students a problem to solve. Students have to prepare a PowerPoint to present. In the next class session, students will make a group presentation. And because of this activity I'm asking the students to do, what would be the areas that will be enabled so that students will actually cover those skills and abilities and knowledge. So based on this example, I can see that if I use multimedia, I'm going to use technology, right? Definitely there will be, and the students will be presenting, right? At the same time, the students will be working as a group, right? And because of this, I can easily tell that students will use critical thinking, creative thinking, be able to communicate, and also to collaborate. Okay, and because I'm asking the students to do a multimedia presentation, then I'm activating media literacies. That means I'm asking students to prepare a presentation, and because I ask them to prepare a multimedia presentation, I am asking them to practice media literacy. And because they are using software and they learn new software to prepare the presentation, whether it's PowerPoint or any other software, they are actually learning new types of software, and that's called ICT literacy. And of course, while they prepare this presentation, they will learn new knowledge as well. Okay, therefore, knowledge and themes can also be included in such a setup for a lesson. Okay, another example, online research. Okay, if I give a student an assignment to do online research, I give a students a mini topic to explore online. I limit the time given to do the research, and I want students to write a short summary of the findings using various multimedia artifacts. So what will students do, and what will the students learn in this kind of activity? There are areas, of course, this is an online activity, research. Okay, so when I say research, what it means. So I want students to search information on the internet, right? So because I want students to search information on the internet, and the information that they find must be credible, then I must have been activating the skills of information literacy, right? So because of this one simple idea of doing online research, I can activate these areas of information, media, and technology. All three of them: information literacy, finding the right information; media literacy, preparing a summary using multimedia artifacts; and ICT literacy, because they're using technology to find things on the internet. So do they use their critical thinking? Yes, they do. Do they use creativity in their work? Yes, they do. Did they learn knowledge? Yes, they did. Was it thematic? Maybe. Okay, you can leave it out, or you can also include a team into a research project. And finally, the last example that I want to show you is YouTube. I can imagine that a lot of you have been using YouTube. Okay, you have been using YouTube, and most of us use YouTube by repurposing content from YouTube. What it means is basically we use YouTube to find the right videos, and we show the videos to the students. I think that is what we do most of the time. And if you do that, basically you are not activating any of the 21st century learning skills and abilities. So I want to show you how I can use YouTube to develop a complete learning lesson that can allow us to exercise all the 21st century learning skills and abilities. Okay, for example, let me show you this. YouTube, an application that allows users to share homemade videos with the online community. They can upload and edit a video on YouTube. So YouTube allows you to upload and edit. So with this feature, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a lesson plan and apply YouTube in my learning. So I'm going to give students an oral presentation assignment. Example, student will then use their smartphone to record their videos and edit their presentation, either using smartphone or they upload to YouTube to edit their video. Students will then review their own presentation and perform self-reflection. So students can actually view their video and see where they go wrong and re-record. And there is where the learning process comes in. They can do self-reflection. Then students will post up the YouTube and will invite written comments and feedback from other students. So this is an activity where you can ask students to create a video presentation, upload to YouTube, and throughout this activity, students will learn a lot of things. They don't only learn content, but they will learn a lot of other skills and competencies. Competency in able to use media, okay, and so on and so forth. And because of this scenario that I put up, okay, learning using YouTube, you can imagine what are the areas of the 21st century learning framework that I will activate in the students. I can see that I can activate almost everything in the student. So by just planning this particular lesson or this exercise for students, you don't only have students learn knowledge that you want to teach, you will activate the 4 C's, okay? Because students will critically think about the problem that is posed to them. They think how to solve problems while they record videos. they will communicate with their peers. Why? Because they post up their videos, and the peers can actually give them critical feedback, and they can also collaborate to learn more from others. And along the way, when they use YouTube to generate all this media, they are actually experiencing information literacy, experiencing media literacy, and also ICT literacy. Okay, so if you look at this particular example, a simple example like YouTube, creating videos on YouTube, you can see that there are a lot of skills and abilities that you can actually activate in students and have students practice this in a lesson or in an assignment. And if you can do that, you not only teach knowledge, you will teach 21st century learning skills for your students. Okay, so that's the beauty of using Web 2 technologies to allow you to customize lessons, customize assignments or exercises that will allow them to train themselves in many areas of skills and also competencies. Okay, therefore, I almost time for me to conclude my lesson. So basically, if you look at this diagram again, you will also notice now that you have a framework that you can follow. You don't have to think out of the box. You don't have to think so hard. There's a framework that already exists called the Framework for 21st Century Learning that you can model. Okay, there are many technological tools called Web 2 that allows tools that allow people to interact, and you can use those tools to actually plan it in your lesson plan so that students can use those tools to learn knowledge as well as learning skills. Okay, and to do all this, teachers must be able to be aware that TPAC exists, and these are the three domains of knowledge that you must develop for yourself to be able to teach in the 21st century using ICT. Okay, so that is almost the end of my presentation. And if you do that for your students, and you do that for yourself, this is a paradigm shift in teaching and learning, where the student's role now become, instead of passive recipient of information, they will be active participants in learning process. They will not only reproduce knowledge, they can produce multimedia knowledge, okay, in the form of multimedia. Learning is no more solitary. Learning is about collaboration. Okay, if you learn alone, you will not be able to learn collaboration and communication skills. So have students learn through collaboration and through communicating with others. And your task, you as a teacher of the 21st century, will be no more a knowledge transmitter but a facilitator. So you have to unlearn to be a knowledge transmitter and relearn to be a learning facilitator, like a collaborator, a coach, a knowledge navigator, to navigate knowledge for students in a way and become co-learners. And controlling and directing of lessons become very independent, where students have more options and responsibility for their own learning. If students take the responsibility for their learning, they will be motivated to learn. Okay, so using all these techniques, using this framework, I think we can actually teach better, and we can, at the end of the day, develop students that are actually not only have content knowledge, but able to have all the skills and competencies that they need in the 21st century workplace, so that they are able to cope. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. We'll go for the Q&A session. Thank you, Tony. Cannot hear you, Tony.
Oh, sorry, I have my mic mute. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Gerard, for the great and wonderful sharing. I believe all of you have learned more about the Web 2.0, especially like what we are using just now, right now, not just now. Okay, YouTube is one of the Web 2.0, so we can interact with each other. So any question from the floor? I'd like to see any question. Let me see. Okay, any question you'd like to ask? All right. Okay, good. A lot of comments say thank you, Dr. Gerard.
Okay, thank you very much for listening. It's already almost 10. Thank you.
Let me put on my slide. Okay, so okay, for certificate, so we are now please go and register yourself for your certificate of attendance. So this is the link, okay, bit.ly/SGC webinar cert, okay. So everyone, please remember to put in your information, and then we will send you the certificate after 30 days from now, okay, within these 30 days, okay. So this link will only be open for 30 minutes from now. Okay, so remember, take a picture or screenshot right now so that later on you can fill in, okay, screenshot or take a picture, okay. So for those, I believe there are a lot of colleague here from SEGI, okay, for those from SEGI, okay, please fill in this form, all right, bit.ly/SGC staff cert, all right. So please take a screenshot, okay, or take a picture, so later on you can fill in, okay, bit.ly/SGC staff cert, okay. So this link same will be only open for 30 minutes from now, all right. All right, okay, next. Okay, so what next? So tomorrow we will have another sessions about how to effectively using the Web 2.0. We'll be showing one example, okay, of a practical approach for online discussion and sharing with Padlet, all right? So the speaker will be Mr. Krishna, okay? So we'll be having a session tomorrow, 4:30 p.m., all right? Tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. So remember, okay, remember to stay with us, yeah? Okay, lastly, do join our Telegram group. Please join our Telegram group. Please take a screenshot, okay? Uppercase and lowercase for this link have to be correct, yeah? SEGI PG Outreach, okay? Join our Telegram. From time to time, we'll have a lot of webinar coming and we'll be announcing at there, okay? Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you all enjoyed these sessions. And once again, okay, once again, thank you, Dr. Gerard, also for sharing this wonderful session. Okay, maybe before we go back, maybe you say bye-bye to everyone, Dr. Gerard.
Yeah,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye.
See you next time.